Iran rejects U.S. control. Border barriers advance. Colombia quake toll climbs. And Farage retains seat. Greetings, humanity. Let's grok the news. We cover the world's headlines, but first, a deep dive into the most important story in the world today. Dateline, Tehran. Iranian officials are rejecting claims by the United States President Donald Trump that American forces hold total control of the Strait of Hormuz. The strategic waterway remains a flashpoint in the ongoing conflict between Washington and Tehran. On Wednesday, President Trump stated on his Truth Social platform that the USA has total control over the Strait of Hormuz and that he thinks the United States will keep it. He described the American naval blockade as a wall of steel and said there is nothing Iran can do about it. Trump added that Iran has no navy, no air force, unpaid remaining soldiers, and a decimated Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Iran pushed back hard yesterday. The commander of the Basij paramilitary force, Hojatollah Hossein Taeb, said the Strait of Hormuz is under Iran's control and management. Excuse this observer. He declared that the country continues on its path in complete security and that Americans have seen the power of the Islamic Revolution. Iran pushed back hard Thursday. The commander of the Basij paramilitary force, Hojatollah Hossein Taeb, said that the Strait of Hormuz is under Iran's control and management. He declared that the country continues on its path in complete security and that Americans have seen the power of the Islamic Revolution. Iran's Joint Military Command, known as Qatam al-Anbiya, has stated that no vessel can transit the strait without Tehran's permission. Officials called American claims of normal passage nothing more than lies and fabrications. The Persian Gulf Strait Authority has posted that the waterway remains blocked and will not reopen until Iran's conditions are accepted. Senior Iranian officials, including Mohsen Rezai of the Supreme National Security Council, told China's ambassador that the strait stays closed as long as America does not change its behavior or meet Tehran's demands. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has warned Washington about what he calls fake intelligence and bigger miscalculations on the strait. Shipping data confirms the disruption continues. Trade intelligence firm Kpler has reported vessel transits near three-month lows with a five-day average around 13 ships a day. Earlier this week, only 9 on Thursday. That compares with roughly 100 to 130 vessels per day before the war began in late February. Many remaining ships are taking the Iranian-administered route. Global oil markets feel the pressure, with prices still elevated as the world is drawing down on stockpiles. On Thursday evening, 2 tankers linked to Abu Dhabi's state-owned ADNOC company came under a drone attack while transiting the strait. The United Arab Emirates blamed Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps and called the strikes acts of piracy that threaten regional stability and global energy security. The United Kingdom maritime trade operations confirmed minor damage to vessels, but reported no casualties or environmental impact. ADNOC said that the situation was brought under control. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth responded that the American Navy can maintain its naval blockade of Iran indefinitely just by rotating ships. He is advising President Trump to keep applying economic pressure as ceasefire talks remain stalled. Vice President J.D. Vance indicated the strait may not return fully to its pre-war status anytime soon. The waterway once carried about 1/5 of the world's oil and liquefied natural gas. 6 months into the conflict, competing claims over who controls this choke point continue to shape energy markets, shipping routes, and great power tensions across the Middle East. You will please pardon this observer for once again stating the obvious. This issue does not truly end, and the other issues to come, until Iran's leadership is gone. And that includes their proxies in Lebanon, in Palestine, and in Yemen. I'm Robert Gardner, using GROK each weekday to truthfully summarize the news. You get it with my opinion, of course. We review a roundup of the most critical reports in the world right after this. M.S. Gardner, my wife, is author of Wolfsbane, a dark, serious, modern take on an old fairy tale. It's a page-turning Southern Gothic story for adults. Wolfsbane, available now at thecuriousauthor.com or amazon.com. Now, we grok the news with headlines from around the world. Dateline: Big Bend National Park in Texas. United States Customs and Border Protection has started clearing land with bulldozers inside Big Bend National Park for new access roads, detection technology, and limited vehicle barriers along the Rio Grande. Commissioner Rodney Scott stressed that the work is not a 30-foot wall. Conservation groups still protest the environmental impact after federal law waivers. Well, as this observer has seen so often, you can count on some leftist group to protest anything this administration does. Dateline: Cali, Colombia. The death toll from Monday's magnitude 7.4 earthquake in western Colombia has climbed past 280. Nearly 4,000 people are injured and hundreds remain missing. Rescuers are calling for silence around rubble piles in hard-hit cities like Pereira and Cali, while searching for survivors with dogs and satellite imagery. Dateline: Clacton-on-Sea, England. Reform UK leader Nigel Farage has won the Clacton by-election with more than 22,000 votes and 63% support. He defeated novelty candidate Count Binface, who took second place. Turnout was 44% after the major parties boycotted the contest that Farage himself triggered. This observer's hat is off to Count Binface, who is evidently a far more serious politician than anybody in the Labour or Tory parties. Dateline: Warsaw, Poland. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk says that security forces detained a Russian citizen recruited by Moscow's intelligence to assassinate a dual Ukrainian-American citizen in Warsaw. Tusk called it the first such ordered attack on a United States citizen on NATO soil. The plot was stopped in cooperation with American agencies. Dateline: Washington, D.C. The Department of Health and Human Services has finalized a rule ending federal Medicaid and CHIP funding for puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and surgeries on minors. A separate report alleges tens of millions in possible insurance coding fraud for the procedures and refers these cases for criminal investigation. As it should be, as if it is not horrible enough to mutilate these children. Dateline: Paris, France. Record heat is fueling multiple wildfires across France and England. Temperatures hit 38.1 degrees Celsius. That's almost 102 degrees Fahrenheit. That was in West London. Evacuations are underway in France's Land region and parts of Croatia and Greece as firefighters there battle blazes that have destroyed homes and strained water supplies. Dateline: Kusra on the West Bank. United States Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee has condemned Israeli settlers who besieged 3 Palestinian homes for several days, including one owned by a Palestinian American. In a rare rebuke, Huckabee referred to some of these settlers as terrorists. Well, that's what they were doing. Even so, there were official protests in Israel. Dateline: Odessa, Ukraine. A Russian drone struck a passenger train carrying hundreds of people in Ukraine's Odessa region on Thursday. The attack killed the driver and his assistant. No passengers were injured. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky accused Moscow of knowingly targeting civilians. Well, if they knew it was a passenger train, then yes, that's exactly what they did. Dateline: Tokyo, Japan. Japan has formally protested Russian President Vladimir Putin's first visit while in office to the disputed Kuril, known in Japan as the Northern Territories, Tokyo called the trip totally unacceptable after Putin toured the islands that are claimed by both Japan and Russia. Dateline Rotterdam in the Netherlands. An explosion at the Gunvor energy facility in the port of Rotterdam killed one person and injured at least 6 others Thursday. The blast occurred during maintenance work on pipes. Authorities are investigating the cause and any link to earlier power outages. Dateline Chamoli, India. A landslide and sudden rush of water into an under-construction hydroelectric tunnel in Uttarakhand, Chamoli district, killed 7 workers and injured about 13 yesterday. Rescue teams continue searching for anyone still trapped on the eve of India's Independence Day. Here's some more bad news for India. Dateline Washington, D.C. A White House report has named India among more than 40 countries in what it calls a shadow transshipment network that is helping China evade United States tariffs. Officials estimate tens of billions in lost revenue and job impacts from goods that are being rerouted through third nations that are not on Uncle Sam's naughty list. Well, this is how you get there. I would advise my good friends in India, don't try to play both sides. If you stand in the middle of the road, you might get run over. Dateline Tampa, Florida. United States Central Command has announced the creation of its first multi-domain, multinational attack drone task force. The new unit aims to integrate partner nations in drone operations across the Middle East region under CENTCOM's area of responsibility. Dateline Boston. A federal judge in Massachusetts has dismissed the Trump administration's anti-Semitism lawsuit against Harvard University. The ruling deals a setback to efforts pressuring the school on how it mishandles, or fails to handle anti-Semitism, admissions, and related issues. This observer has a feeling you haven't heard the end of this. Dateline Catania, Italy. Mount Etna's eruption has entered its 7th day, with ongoing lava flows and ash emissions. Catania Airport remains closed because of the ash clouds that reach as far as Libya. Scientists note the unusually prolonged activity compared with recent decades. Might not be a good time to visit Pompeii. Dateline Atlanta, Georgia. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports thousands more cases in a multi-state cyclosporiasis outbreak linked to iceberg lettuce from Mexico. The total now exceeds 9,000 illnesses, with hundreds hospitalized and at least 2 deaths confirmed. Dateline New York, New York. Luigi Mangione is scheduled to appear in federal court for an expected guilty plea in the killing of United Healthcare chief Brian Thompson. The high-profile case has drawn national attention since the December shooting in Manhattan. While this observer is no fan of greedy corporate sharks, he deplores the Antifa and leftists rejoicing and glee over his murder. Dateline Chiba, Japan. Heavy rains have killed at least 4 people in Japan's Chiba prefecture near Tokyo. Authorities issued the highest-level weather warnings for more than 1/3 of local municipalities as flooding stranded residents and closed roads across eastern Japan. And Dateline Constanta, Romania. Romanian authorities have evacuated a popular Black Sea tourist beach, and they remain on high alert after military drones washed ashore. The incident follows earlier cases in which Army divers destroyed drifting devices near a gas project in the same waters. I thank you for listening. Please join me Monday to once again GROK the News. I'm Robert Gardner. Godspeed and God bless.